What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So as y'all know, I did end up doing the video on the Subaru wrap, but there's also another car I did want to talk about in another video, and that is going to be the 1990 Subaru Legacy RS. This thing is not only going to have some insane history behind it, because for one, it was basically the pivotal point for Subaru when it does come to rally racing. Isn't that kind of insane? They did end up having rally stuff before that, but I will talk about that here in a second. But overall, guys, just take a look at this thing. Now, I do know this car is going to be pretty dang rare. Now, I could be wrong on this. I saw online that apparently this car was out in Series 11 and Series 17. So, yeah, this thing is probably going to be very scarce in the auction house. Funny part is, it is not going to be a very expensive vehicle either. I think I spent like 78 grand on it or something. So, the overall price of this car is going to be low unless you're going to have the legendary tuner status. Now, you're probably going to notice something about the livery, guys. Let me close these doors here quick on this side. This is going to be one of the liveries that was on this car back in the day when it was racing in rally. Now, the thing is, I did not want to keep sitting in there and kind of going around the car and stuff like that. So I was like, you know what? Let me go drive this thing and talk about it a bit more, guys. So looking at this thing here in the light, I absolutely love this livery. If you are wondering, this is going to be available if you guys are looking at like the livery designs. It is basically right in front. And I can see why, because this looks so dang great, whoever did it. And that was kind of the funny part is, because when I was looking up this car, I was like, wait a minute, the Legacy RS, I was playing older dirt games and stuff, so I did know Subaru was pretty dang big into rally, but I was curious where this car had a play in the overall thing. Crazy part is, this thing was basically going to be the pivotal part of Subaru's career in rally racing, which is kind of insane. Again, I will talk about this in a deep dive here in a second, going over some history of this car. You guys want to know what's also really hilarious? I have to mention, everybody's always talking about how Forza is giving you like free hypercars all the time, or it's always handing you like Lambos. Y'all know what's hilarious, bro? I barely drive them. I am driving stuff like this more and barely touching any of the hypercars. I'm having more fun driving this thing. Not only is it going to be a very rare car that I think basically no other racing game has. I would have to look into the dirt games a bit. I don't know if it's in there. It might be. I do know there's going to be some older ones in there, but I do also know for a fact that cars like this are basically not in most racing games. So yeah, it kind of makes me excited. I could go drive a Lambo, yeah, or I can go drive a rally car that's going to have insane history behind it. And this thing is also incredibly good. But you know what? Let's dive into some of the history of the RS and what made this car like basically the pivotal point for Subaru when it does come to rally racing. So I did end up finding an article about the brief history of the Subaru rally teams on the Real Subaru website. When I was going through this, I was like, that's pretty cool. Didn't know that. And I also did end up learning about the Legacy RS even more and how it basically paved the way for Subaru from there. But jumping right into the article now, the first part of this is going to say, during the 1980s, Subaru made its debut in the World Rally Championship WRC with the Subaru Leon model. If you are wondering what that car is, it is basically going to be another design of the Subaru Brat Geo that we do currently have in the game. I will show what that car did end up looking like, the Subaru Leon. It is then going to read, the car driven by Ari Vatanen, probably didn't say that right, finished in the top 4 in the 1984 WRC Drivers' Championship, securing Subaru's place as a team to be reckoned with. We're then going to move over and it's going to say, however, it wasn't until the 1990s that Subaru's fortunes in rally racing would change for the better. In 1990, the company developed the Subaru Legacy RS, which was fitted with the iconic EJ20 engine, the car driven by Scottish driver Colin McRae. Y'all remember Dirt? Yeah, Colin McRae. Pretty insane. Won the British Rally Championship in 1991 and 1992. It was this car that proved to be the tipping point for Subaru in the world of rally racing. We're then going to have McRae's success with the Legacy RS prompted Subaru to focus on rally racing as a core element of their brand. In 1993, the company then introduced the Subaru Impreza WRX, a car that would become the cornerstone of Subaru's success in the rally world. The Impreza WRX fitted the turbocharged EJ20 engine, was an instant success, winning its first race in the debut season at the Rally of New Zealand. The next one is then going to say, over the next decade, Subaru would go in to win 3 WRC Drivers' Championships in 1995, 2001, and 2003, and 3 consecutive WRC manufacturer championships from 1995 to 1997. The drivers who contributed to Subaru's success include Colin McRae, Richard Burns, and Peter Solberg. The last piece of this article I did want to read, though, is going to be, in addition to its success in the WRC, Subaru also established itself as the dominant force in the US-based rally racing series. In 2001, the company established Subaru Rally Team USA, which went to win the US National Rally Championship 15 times in the next 17 years. The team also won the Rallycross Championship in 2019 and 2021. Isn't that kind of insane, guys? Now, the thing I was thinking about this, though, is when you look at something like the history of some of these vehicles, you really don't realize how much of an impact some of them have on stuff, you know? Like, we did end up having the Subaru Leon, which was going to start it. Then Subaru did end up introducing the Legacy RS. Now, if you were looking at that, though, you probably went, well, wait a second. This car was pretty much only good for a few years. Well, yes, this car basically paved the way for Subaru. That allowed them to then introduce the Impreza WRX, and boom, they pretty much went on to win all kinds of rally stuff basically everywhere. It's pretty dang amazing. One thing I really like about this car for some reason, though, is the overall design of it. I don't know why. I think having the big lights on the front of it and the way that it drives in this game and stuff, I feel like Forza really captured it great. And that's kind of the big thing. Like, you're driving cars and stuff like that in these games, you're like, it's just going to be some Subaru Legacy. But no, man, there's some insane history behind it. And speaking of that, though, there's also 2 other things I did want to read off Google as well, guys, for WRC performance. While not as dominant in the WRC as the BRC, which was going to be the British Rally, the Legacy RS secured 1 victory and 5 podiums, demonstrating the potential of Subaru's all-wheel drive technology and setting the stage for the future. Like, that's pretty incredible. It may have not won everything, but I would probably say a podium is honestly still very impressive. That's top 3. A lot of the cars and a lot of the drivers and stuff probably have issues getting top 3, so I feel like that's pretty amazing. We're then going to have the Legacy's impact. The Legacy RS with the EJ20 engine was instrumental in building Subaru's reputation and experience in rally, ultimately leading to the development of the Impreza WRX, which became the dominant force in the WRC. So the car you're able to drive here in Forza Horizon 5 basically started rally in a way for Subaru. Like, yeah, they were using the Leon, but the Subaru Legacy RS that was introduced in 1990 not only was going to help reshape Subaru in a way because of the EJ20 motor, but it also basically put them on the map for rally for decades to come. Isn't that pretty incredible, man? When I was looking into this stuff, I went, yo, I'm able to drive this car in Forza Horizon. I do not know of a lot of games that, for one, even have Subarus in them, which is kind of crazy to begin with. But with that, we're also going to have a bunch of them and Subarus that are going to be pretty dang incredible when it does come to history. As I did mention earlier, it kind of does make me laugh because a lot of people are looking at Forza and go, man, there is way too many cars in this game, or I hate how the game's handing you hypercars and stuff, right? As I did say earlier, I'm having a lot more fun basically driving this car, and I have barely touched any hypercars. Like, I'm pretty much going in, driving something like the Subaru Legacy RS or driving like the WRX and stuff like that. I've actually been driving the RS probably more than any of the other Subarus recently, doing off-road events in it, and I am still so dang entertained by it, having fun jumping in. I am not bored whatsoever. I don't even want to drive a supercar. That's one thing I feel like players are looking at this game probably maybe in a wrong way. Like, yes, it is going to give you a lot of free hypercars in a way if you're doing the wheel spins or depending on what you're doing, but overall, I feel like a majority of the fan base is probably not even going to use them. They are most likely going to focus on other cars like the Subaru here. And this thing is so dang fun. I am going to show my build on the screen if you guys want to try it out. It is going to be 792 in A-Class. It's so dang fun to race. Handles great. It is going to be really fun over jumps. It's also going to be quick. Overall, it really is a good car to drive, and I would say for the category that it's in, which I gotta think, it's Retro Rally. That's what it was. And being in Retro Rally, I feel like is a great contender, and it is most likely going to be good on PvP stuff, which I will eventually jump in the future. Do let me know what y'all think about the Legacy RS in the comments below. I am planning on doing more cars like this in the future and also other videos similar to this one, so do let me know what your thoughts are on that. But overall, though, driving the Subaru Legacy RS, the history of this car really made me go, no, I'm going to drive this thing more. I'm going to put a build on it. I pretty much have to jump in and experience this thing because the history behind the Legacy basically started rally racing for Subaru, which is honestly just wild to me.